Okay, let's dive into this stack of sources you've provided. We're cracking open a myth. Most of us know the 11th labor of Hercules, the one about the golden apples.
Mm-hmm.
But this material, well, it doesn't just retell the story. It uses it as a springboard to explore some absolutely fascinating symbolic connections.
Right. What we have here is the surface narrative, Hercules' quest for the golden apples of the Hesperides, which, yeah, feels like a classic hero's task.
It sure is.
But these sources, they're inviting us to look behind the veil, kind of connecting the details of this ancient tale to these really profound ideas about spiritual wisdom, the journey of self-discovery.
And it weaves threads to places like Freemasonry, the Gemini zodiac sign, Jacob's ladder, even the Temperance tarot card. That's quite a mix.
Exactly. It's quite a synthesis they're presenting.
So our mission in this deep dive is basically to sift through these sources, pull out the most important insights, understand the layers of meaning they assign to this myth, and uncover those surprising nuggets of knowledge.
Yeah.
It really takes what seems like, simple heroic deed and transforms it into this rich, layered allegory about acquiring knowledge, undergoing transformation and finding balance. It's fascinating.
It really is. So maybe let's ground ourselves first in the myth itself, like as it's presented in these texts.
Good idea.
These golden apples weren't just any fruit. They were actually a wedding gift from Gaia, Mother Earth, to Hera when she married Zeus.
Oh, okay. A divine wedding gift.
Precisely. And the belief was they granted immortality. They were kept in this sacred garden, placed, right at the mythical edge of the world, very remote.
And securing them, that was no easy feat, right?
Yeah.
The garden was guarded.
Not just by the Hesperides, nymphs often described as daughters of the evening or night,
Right.
but also by this terrifying 100-headed dragon named Ladon, and he never slept.
100 heads and never slept. Okay.
Yeah.
So Hercules couldn't just wander in and grab them. He had to figure out the remoteness and overcome these really fierce protectors.
And this labor, it's kind of unique because Hercules doesn't just conquer the Guardians through sheer force alone. He actually needed help.
Ah, right.
And these sources really highlight his encounter with the Titan Atlas, the one burdened by holding up the sky as punishment.
Yes. And this is where Hercules uses, cunning over pure strength, isn't it?
Exactly.
He proposes a deal. He'll momentarily hold the sky if Atlas, who, could actually get near the garden, would retrieve the apples for him.
And Atlas, desperate for a break, right? He agrees, gets the apples, but then he tries to trick Hercules into keeping the sky burden forever.
The old switcheroo.
Pretty much. But it's Hercules' wit that saves him here. He pretends to agree, but then asks Atlas to take the sky back just for a moment while he pats his shoulders, makes himself more comfortable.
Clever.
The instant Atlas resumes the burden, Hercules just grabs the apples and bolts.
And just like that, the labor is completed. Brings the apples back to King Eurystheus. So on its face, as the material points out, this myth symbolizes facing huge challenges, the crucial role of intelligence alongside strength, and that interplay between muscle and mind.
Yeah, it's already more than just a brawny task, even at that level.
Definitely.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. As these sources make these explicit connections between this labor and Masonic traditions,
Okay.
in this symbolic framework, the golden apples aren't merely a quest object. They kind of ascend to represent divine knowledge or spiritual wisdom.
So the reward isn't just the object itself, it's the understanding it represents. That's a big reframing.
Precisely. The apples are seen as the prize for successfully navigating personal and moral challenges, representing higher knowledge or truth that exists, beyond the purely physical. Obtaining them becomes a metaphor for gaining understanding of these deep, sometimes hidden esoteric principles.
And the garden where these apples reside, what does that space signify in this context?
So the garden, in this reading, symbolizes the inner temple, that sacred personal space within oneself that needs cultivation, purification.
Okay, the inner world.
Right. It's seen as a realm of potential, beauty, mystery, much like the human soul, really. These sources suggest it's the domain where transformation is possible, but only after facing and overcoming inner trials, mirroring Hercules' labors.
Which positions Hercules himself not just as a hero, but as the initiate, maybe, on a spiritual journey.
Exactly. His 12 labors are interpreted as allegories for the obstacles an aspirant the initiate must overcome on the path to knowledge and enlightenment.
Makes sense.
Just as Hercules needed both strength and cunning, the initiate needs that balance of virtue, intellect, and, unwavering perseverance.
The guardian, the Hesperides, and the fearsome dragon laid on, they then become symbols of what prevents access to this inner wisdom, like psychological blocks.
That's right. The Hesperides can represent the guardians of hidden wisdom, knowledge that isn't freely given but must be earned, And Ladon, the dragon, he embodies the forces of darkness, or maybe those internal obstacles like ignorance, fear, or vice that block the path to divine truth. Overcoming them requires inner strength and intellectual effort, not just brute force.
Let's talk about Atlas holding the sky. That feels like such a potent symbol in itself.
Oh, absolutely. In this symbolic structure, Atlas can represent the sheer weight of worldly responsibilities or concerns, the burdens we all carry.
Daily life.
Exactly. Hercules' interaction with him reflects a key tension in the spiritual journey. How do you balance the demands of the material world with the pursuit of higher wisdom?
Right. The struggle is real.
Totally. And Hercules cleverly regaining the apples and leaving the sky behind symbolizes the initiate's need to manage worldly duties without letting them permanently crush the spiritual quest. It's about finding a way to navigate the mundane while still reaching for the divine.
That's a really interesting take on the trick. And the immortality the apples are said to grant. What about that?
The sources propose this symbolizes the eternal nature of the soul, or perhaps the pursuit of spiritual immortality. Through successfully completing the labors and obtaining the apples, the initiate metaphorically achieves a form of lasting wisdom or spiritual continuity that transcends physical existence, gaining access to timeless truths.
It's incredible how many layers of meaning are drawn from these details. Just wow.
Isn't it?
Now, these sources make another intriguing connection, linking this labor to the Gemini zodiac sign.
Yes, and this link seems rooted in Gemini's core symbolism. Duality, communication, wit, adaptability, and its rulership by Mercury, the planet associated with swiftness, intellect, and importantly, transformation.
Okay, so how does that map onto Hercules' quest for the golden apples? Walk me through it.
Well, Gemini is famously represented by the twins, symbolizing duality, right?
Right, the twin.
This mirrors Hercules navigating both the physical challenges of the journey getting there, dealing with guardians, and the intellectual or strategic challenge with Atlas. The labor itself embodies a balance between strength and wisdom. You absolutely need both to succeed.
Okay, that makes sense.
The material suggests the dual nature of the task is an allegory for the initiate needing to integrate their physical, moral, and intellectual selves. It's not just one thing.
And the idea of the twins as complementary forces, how does that fit?
Exactly. Forces that need to be harmonized. Hercules has to reconcile external obstacles, the garden's defenses, with his internal strategy and negotiation skills.
I see.
This mirrors the spiritual duality explored in these traditions, balancing one's outer persona with the inner self, or integrating the material and spiritual aspects of life, that push and pull.
And Hercules' cleverness with Atlas, that fits the Gemini profile perfectly, doesn't it? Strategic thinking, mental agility.
Absolutely. His success hinged on his quick thinking and persuasive ability, not just his muscles. This reinforces the idea that this symbolic journey requires intellect and adaptability, traits strongly linked to Gemini.
And Mercury's linked to transformation. How does that play in?
Well, Mercury is seen as a kind of bridge, a messenger. Hercules' journey for the apples can be seen as a transformative process.
Okay.
The quest for divine wisdom and immortality, symbolized by the apples, represents a personal metamorphosis achieved through facing both physical and intellectual trials. This theme of transformation is central to the path of initiation discussed in the sources.
Gemini's connection to hidden knowledge feels relevant too, thinking about the guarded garden.
Definitely. The sources connect Gemini to the search for hidden knowledge and enlightenment. Just as the apples are guarded in a remote, secret garden, profound truths are often not easily found, right?
Sure.
Gemini's dual nature can represent that dual search, the external quest for understanding, and the internal exploration of the self. Both seem necessary to uncover universal truths according to this interpretation.
And the two pillars, sometimes associated with Gemini, how do they connect?
They're seen to symbolize the balance between strength, which could be physical power or assertion, and wisdom, representing mental and spiritual power.
Okay.
In Masonic contexts, this is often paralleled with the pillars Boaz and Jachin at the entrance to the temple. They're symbols representing the essential harmony between opposing forces that must be achieved to enter sacred space or attain higher knowledge.
Okay. So Hercules' task is a direct embodiment of needing to combine force and intellect, strength and strategy. That fits.
Precisely. And the Gemini twins themselves can even represent the initiation process.
How so?
They symbolize the duality inherent in facing trials and undergoing transformations. Like Hercules proving his worthiness through his labors to gain the apples, the initiate faces spiritual, intellectual, and moral challenges to earn wisdom. The dual nature of Gemini reflects this journey of integrating different aspects of oneself to achieve a more complete understanding and enlightenment.
Wow, okay. Let's shift gears slightly. There's another layer these sources explore, connecting the themes to Jacob's Ladder and the Temperance Tarot card.
Right. The material places this labor symbolism specifically at the sixth rung of Jacob's Ladder, which they associate with music.
Music.
Yeah.
How does music fit with golden apples and dragons?
Well, here, music isn't just, aesthetic sound. It's understood symbolically as harmony, a balance between structure, like mathematics, and expression, like language.
Harmony. Got it.
It's the beauty that arises from synthesizing thought and feeling, logic and intuition, finding that perfect blend.
And the associated tarot card is Temperance. The imagery the sources describe is really powerful. An angel pouring liquid between two cups, one foot on land, one in water.
Yeah, often with a triangle and a rainbow in the background too.
Right.
That angel often represents divine guidance or maybe higher consciousness, urging the seeker toward balance and moderation. The figure's androgynous appearance can suggest the necessary blending of masculine and feminine energies, that fundamental harmony of opposites again.
The act of pouring the liquid between the cups seems really central to that idea of tempering or blending.
Absolutely. It symbolizes fluidity, adaptability, and the deliberate blending or merging of different elements or energies to create harmony and synthesis. It's like the dynamic exchange between, say, the conscious and unconscious mind, or the careful mixing of seemingly opposing forces like action and contemplation, logic and intuition, finding the middle way.
And the angel standing with one foot on land and one in water. What's that about?
That's a powerful representation of balance between the material and spiritual realms. Land represents the grounded physical world, stability. Water represents emotions, intuition, the subconscious, fluidity. Standing in both signifies the need to remain connected to earthly life while also engaging with spiritual growth and intuition. You need both feet grounded, in a sense, even if in different elements.
The triangle often appears in these images as well, you mentioned.
Yes, the triangle is frequently interpreted as a symbol of unity or divine guidance, representing the integration of body, mind, and spirit, or the reconciliation of dualities into a single, stable whole.
And the rainbow. That seems hopeful.
It is. It's a classic symbol of hope, promise, and unity. It suggests that after difficulty or storms like the rain often needed for a rainbow, there's a return to harmony and balance, a time of healing and renewal, and that golden light often surrounding the angel. That points to temperance, balance, and harmony, not just as practical skills, but as truly spiritual concepts. It suggests inner peace and wisdom are achieved through moderation and patient blending.
So when we bring the Temperance card's message back to the 11th labor, the connection seems really direct.
It becomes very clear, doesn't it? The core essence of Hercules' success wasn't just overwhelming strength. It was learning to temper his force with wisdom and strategy, using his mind as much as his muscles. He had to blend action with reflection, brute strength with cunning negotiation. That aligns perfectly with the message of finding balance and harmony through blending different elements, which is, the heart of the Temperance card.
Okay, let's try and synthesize all these threads now. We've moved from the literal myth of Hercules seeking golden apples to its rich symbolic life across Masonic interpretations, the Gemini sign, Jacob's Ladder rung 6, music, and the Temperance tarot card. That's a lot of ground.
It is. And what resonates across all these different lenses is this consistent theme: duality. The essential need for balance, overcoming challenges that are both external obstacles and internal struggles, and the pursuit of wisdom or enlightenment. And this pursuit, it requires more than just physical power. It demands cunning, intellect, patience, and that difficult but necessary integration of diverse aspects of the self, physical strength and mental agility, logic and intuition, the worldly and the spiritual.
So the core message woven through these sources seems to be that true wisdom isn't easily accessible. It's often hidden, right?
Yeah.
Behind trials, illusions, powerful guardians, some external, some internal.
Exactly. And accessing that wisdom, that fruit of enlightenment or spiritual renewal, requires perseverance, cunning, and self-mastery. It's a journey of navigating complexity and learning to harmonize the different forces within yourself and the world around you.
Which brings us back to you, listening to this deep dive. This isn't just, ancient mythology or esoteric symbolism for a niche audience. It feels like a framework that speaks to the journey you're on. You face your own challenges, you seek your own forms of wisdom, growth, or understanding. We all do.
Yeah, this material suggests that your path likely involves navigating dualities and learning to balance different forces within your own life, just as Hercules balanced strength and wisdom, and the temperance angel balances land and water, blending different elements. It's a universal theme.
So we've taken a pretty deep dive into Hercules' 11th labor, uncovering its profound symbolic life across various traditions.
We really have. We've seen how a quest for mythical apples can become this powerful allegory for the pursuit of divine knowledge, requiring inner transformation and that delicate, crucial balancing of dualities.
As you reflect on all this, maybe ask yourself, what wisdom or truth are you striving to uncover or integrate in your life right now? What are your golden apples?
And perhaps more importantly, how are you finding the balance between the demands of your everyday responsibilities, the weight of your own sky, so to speak, and the pursuit of your spiritual or personal growth? It's a question Hercules faced, and honestly, one we all continue to navigate.